So the Oscar nominations came out yesterday morning. Some people are happy, some people are mad, some people are mixed. It's really the same old thing we come to see every year when the Oscar nominations come out. But there's specifically a lot of talk about Todd Phillips getting that Best Director nomination for Joker. Tons of people claiming that he doesn't deserve that nomination, that he's just another Martin Scorsese imitator, and that clearly someone else should have taken his spot. And oh my god, I disagree with every single one of those statements. Clearly. First things first, we gotta talk about this. Only men were nominated for the Best Director category. Yes, it's terrible that we have a year with just male directors and no diversity whatsoever. And not one single woman was nominated for a Best Director award. But the solution isn't just to swap out a director who earned their spot, but it's to have more opportunities for women and people of color to direct more films and act in more films so they can be in the conversation more so than they were this year. And while specifically for directing, we did have a lot more women and people of color directing films, we still need more. I definitely understand the backlash because the lack of diversity is very concerning. I myself am a minority. I want to see these people be nominated. I want diversity in the nominees. But I do not agree with just picking a director and yanking them out of the nomination that they earned. And 9 times out of 10, the one director that people always seem to pick to yank away their nomination is Todd Phillips. And here is why I believe Todd Phillips is incredibly deserving of that nomination. You see, it's rather simple. The directing in Joker was fantastic. The film all around exceeds in so many categories: cinematography, score, acting, production design, editing, the screenplay, which I know people are just trashing on Twitter, and believe me, I will be making a video one day on why that screenplay is genius, but that's for another time. I don't want to get sidetracked. I promise I will be making that video one day. But as a complete package, as a cohesive unit, this film is done incredibly well. The director is the man or woman that orchestrates the entire picture altogether. They're the ones who have a vision and hopefully are able to communicate that vision to the audience successfully. And Todd Phillips had the task of putting together a film that could have gone so terribly wrong, but somehow he managed to organize this story successfully that excels in all aspects of filmmaking. Not only is the film done well in general, but the film has so many scenes and sequences of pure excellence that stick with you even after you leave the theater. The scene in the hospital when he's dancing and singing to the kids and then he ends up dropping the gun. The use of the stairs as he walks up them at the beginning of the film, depressed and lonely because the world is just beating him down day after day. Then by the third act, he's dancing down those same stairs and he's fully transformed into the Joker. In his mind, in his eyes, he is the man he's wanted to be forever. He is seen, he's noticed, and he matters. And I don't even need to discuss the talk show scene, easily one of the best sequences of 2019. These moments I'm talking about stick out to the viewers, and I am damn sure they stuck out to the voters and made them remember how great Joker was as a film. Another small thing I want to add about the movie is that Todd Phillips was taking conventional concepts that we know about film and doing what is commonly known as wrong and making it work. Filmmaking has no rules, none, zero. It was incredibly refreshing to see Todd Phillips play with film theory and not just do what every filmmaking textbook tells you to do. Sad moments are shown in wide shots instead of close-ups. The greatest sequence in the entire film breaks the 180-degree rule and makes it work to its advantage to increase the tension in the sequence. Things like this are what I love to see filmmakers do, and in my opinion, separates a good director from a great one. Even though this doesn't have to do anything with the actual filmmaking, Todd Phillips took a ballsy risk. He decided to make a low-budget character study on the Joker without a ton of explosions and action scenes that we all come to expect in a typical comic book movie, and he pulled it off incredibly well. So much so that Joker became the only R-rated film to ever make $1 billion, and it didn't even open in China. that type of success won't go unseen. And I'm sure voters knew about the success story and wanted to award Joker even more. And I'm not saying that's what Oscar voters should do. Every film should be judged on just the film alone, nothing else. But if we're going to be completely honest, it had to have played a factor. And I do want to say that the other directors in consideration for that nomination spot were great, but they were missing those moments of excellence that Todd Phillips showed in Joker. Todd Phillips' film felt the most organized and structured of all the films competing for that last nomination. Not to mention that the entire film felt like it had Todd Phillips' stamp all over it. Filled with amazing sequences, the pace being great as you slowly see a good man in Arthur, who's just a social outcast, slowly descend further and further into insanity to the point where he makes this transition as the Joker. It was perfection. And the final impression that audiences will get of the film is the masterfully directed talk show sequence. To me, it seemed like a clear-cut choice to nominate Todd Phillips for this award. And to those who say that this is just another king of comedy or Taxi Driver, so that's why he's not deserving, taking inspiration from a film and making it your own is what great artists do. And last I checked, both of those films are regarded as classics and some of the greatest films of all time. Film is subjective, of course, but I just don't understand that argument at all. A good film is a good film. Nothing more, nothing less. I do see another argument being made that the Oscars should extend the amount of nominees per category, because there's so much talent every year that it's a shame that not everyone is getting the nomination they deserve. And again, I could not disagree any more with this. What makes the Oscars so prestigious is the fact that amazing talent will be left off every year. The fact that amazing talent like Awkwafina, Greta Gerwig, Lupita Nyong'o were not nominated this year is what makes the Oscars have value. I wasn't a huge fan of when Best Picture expanded from 5 films to up to 10, but I can live with it. Every other category though needs to stay at 5. If you keep expanding them, the quality of the award lessens. Look, at the end of the day, whether you agree or don't agree with me, that's fine. If you think Greta Gerwig deserved that 5th and final spot, that's awesome. And if you're one of those people, please leave a comment down below. I would love to hear everybody's insight on this topic. Let's just keep it civil. I don't want anyone to be hateful towards any filmmaker. The whole reason I made this video was because of the amount of hateful and disrespectful things I was seeing said about Todd Phillips for getting that 5th and final nomination spot for Best Director. With all that being said, I hope you all have a good one and take care.